watching 18 News at 5.
Our coverage continuing now on the governor's State of the State address. New York State is facing a $6 billion budget gap. But the governor's agenda that he laid out today in Albany, well, it's not going to be cheap. New York State Senator Tom O'Mara and Assemblyman Phil Palmesano are joining us now live from Albany. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Good to be with you. Thanks for having us on. Good evening.
Senator, I want to start with you. The governor focused a lot. He kept on talking about the progressive state, the progressive capital, the progressive agenda and movement is working. What in your mind, is that actually working? Is this progressive government that he spoke about earlier today working for the people in this district?
Well, Governor Cuomo has talked about being the progressive capital of the country the entire time he's been in office. I don't believe that agenda has been working for us in upstate New York. The governor pretty much sugarcoated the upstate economy on what we're dealing with, frankly talking about low unemployment, but that's nationwide. That's not what's happened in New York State. We're still struggling in upstate New York and in Southern Tier in particular, and we heard very little from the governor on that.
Assemblyman, I wanted you just right after the governor addressed your staff sent out a release. So one of the big issues that we were hoping that the governor would address would have to do with bail reform, something that we've seen over the last few weeks. What is your take? He failed to address that clearly in his State of the State address. Will the Assembly or will the Republican leadership come after him for that?
Well, I certainly hope so. He clearly failed to address the need to fix the disastrous bail and discovery laws that were passed last year that went into effect. That's already wreaking havoc and causing compromise in public safety in our communities all across this state. This is something that needs to be addressed for the safety of the people we represent all across this state. It's a critical issue, and it's, I hope, something that we can come to agreement on and fixing, because it's not the right thing for our state, for the people, and for the safety of the public.
Thank you. A big part of his speech today, a good chunk of it had to do with climate change and the state's response, and he mentioned a $3 billion bond act to restore Mother Nature. What was your take when you heard that from the governor? Either one of you could.
Well, we have no details. We have no details on what he means by that, but looking at $3 billion in further debt in a time when we have a $6 billion deficit and no explanations about how to fix that deficit is concerning. The progressive agenda that this governor has this past year has been all about criminals' rights. And they've ignored crime victims. That's why this bail reform is such an atrocious thing that's happened, and we're looking very hard to get that repealed and fixed going forward for the safety of everybody in our communities.
All right, one final question. Just real quick, when you can sum up today's State of the State address in just a few words, I'll give you both the chance to do that. I know that's kind of hard, but in your thought when you left.
We need to see more details when the governor releases his budget in a couple weeks, because he certainly highlighted a number of new proposals, but failed to say how he's going to specifically pay for that in the context of the $6.1 billion budget deficit that our state is facing.
All right.
I think it was more fluff and little detail about what he's done in the past. But no detail about what we're going to do going forward to fix our fiscal woes that we have in this state.
All right. Well, gentlemen, we thank you so much for joining us live from Albany. This is just the beginning of a long few months for you, and we wish you well, and we'll obviously be talking to you over that legislative session, and we'll be right back. Of course, you can find all of our coverage on mytwintiers.com.